Didn't work out. What did your computer say?
This something.
Okay. So here we are.
Talking about
Guns.
pew pew.
That's the sound they make? I've never actually shot one myself
Yeah, I don't
in real
know.
life.
Never heard.
Pew.
I think they're like they are on TV
Right.
with the 30-round magazine clips.
Yep. You spray bullets all over the place.
Yeah,
And no one gets hit.
exactly.
And you can fire them. So watching The Walking Dead, as you know that I've been watching, it's really annoying. They always complain about not having any ammunition, and then they go to these firefights with the other people, and they're just shooting at each other forever. Nobody's aiming at anything. It's like, so they have no discipline in anything. They're just out there just firing weapons in the general direction of people,
Right.
missing everything, and forever without reloading. Now, even if they had 30-round magazines, you know how fast you go through a 30-round magazine?
No.
Very.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it looks like, some of them, they look like they're firing fully auto things and such, but even if they're semi-auto, you can go through them. Think about it.
You can
1001,
play through
1002, 1003, 1000. So
You can fire more than one a
30
second.
seconds, yeah. So even if you fired one a second, 30 seconds, and then you got to reload. These people are shooting for minutes. They're having long, drawn-out firefights, and they don't reload once.
It's good to not have to.
It would be awesome not
It'd be
to
the
have to.
best.
So, just like on TV.
But we're not talking about TV.
No, we're talking about real life.
Real guns.
Which we don't have any of, because if we did, and they ever want to confiscate them, then they would come and get them from us.
Right. So we
neither of
can't.
us don't. We don't
we
have
don't
any
want
guns.
We're not looking for that.
Nope.
So, I guess we should ask what your view on guns really is.
My view on guns is that I like them. I personally is for sport primarily. If I owned one right now, I would own a shotgun that I use to shoot clay discs, because I think that's enjoyable.
That is enjoyable.
And so that's what I would own right now if I own anything. And then if I had money to, I would buy rifles, because I like rifles too. Someday I would like to hunt. I would like to learn that skill. Maybe it's not a skill. I know how to shoot.
It's a skill. It's
I
a
was in the
skill to
Army,
hunt.
so I know how to shoot guns, rifles, and things. I mean, and beyond. Basic training doesn't teach you anything. So
Right.
I'm in the Army. You know all about guns. No, you don't. I mean, unless you do some kind of weapons specialty. But people think, oh, you were in the Army, you must know about everything. No, I don't. Fired the M16. I know about the M16.
Okay, I had to shoot 300 yards.
Right. I shot moving targets. That was fun.
Right.
I can shoot things. I can hit things that I'm aiming at. It's good. So I mean, I know how to shoot that rifle well. But we didn't fire a handgun in basic training.
No M9.
No.
Sad.
You shoot a couple rounds out of the SAW and the 240 Bravo, and that's about it.
That's awesome.
You throw one grenade. That's the one time you see drill sergeants nervous. That's when you're on the grenade range. Because they realize, you could kill me right now. Just out of ignorance, you could kill me. And so they're terrified. These idiots holding grenades. So they they throw the grenade for you. Then they pull you down behind the concrete barrier. It's fun times.
That sounds amazing.
But yeah, I like guns. I think guns are great for sport, hunting, and protection. Hopefully, you never need to protect yourself with lethal force, but I don't see any reason why I shouldn't be able to.
Absolutely. I am very much in agreement with you. I had some guns and I lost them in a boating accident.
Right.
So those are gone. They're
Sad
gone
when it
forever.
happens. All of them gone forever. It's too bad. The bottom of a river or lake or stream bed.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't want to tell anybody where they could be.
Just in case somebody bad
Right.
wanted to get them. Because bad people exist.
Right.
No, they don't. But the
Well,
world thinks
people
they
who
do.
want to do bad actions.
Sometimes.
Right.
Right. So, silence.
So okay. So let's talk about why people don't want other people to have guns.
Yeah, that's a good thing to talk about.
One, this is like the biggest thing to me is it's control.
Yep. But all right. So that's the biggest thing that, from our perspective, you and I seem to share a perspective on this.
Right.
But so we see the gun control movement as a control of people.
Right. Not guns.
Thing. Yeah. But I think from that perspective of someone who wants to control guns, the number one issue is safety.
Right.
Now that's not accurate. That's not true. I don't know if truth is the right word, but it's not rational. I think maybe that's better.
I think maybe most people that are against guns are uninformed about them.
Yeah.
So it's hard to be like, it's hard for them to say exactly what they know and what they don't know.
Right.
So they're just going on what they hear on the news, and depending on what side of the news you listen to is what you get your argument from.
Right. So either guns are the most important thing ever to defend your little children from Fox News, or they're the most horrendous things ready to destroy your life if you look at them funny.
Right.
According to CNN and MSNBC.
Because they'll go off and they'll kill you. Guns kill people.
Because in the end, says some politician, it's the gun that does the killing.
Right.
Not the person.
There you go.
So, right, but so that's what drives people like you and I to go, oh, it's just about people control.
Right.
Because we know, 100% know, that a gun does not do the killing. In the end, it's the person that does the killing.
Right.
The gun is a tool. Like, that's what, we've had this conversation before.
Right.
Due to technical difficulties, we're repeating the conversation to
That's a fun conversation.
the topic. Yeah, it's a good topic anyway, so we'll talk about it some more. But you're talking about guns are tools.
Absolutely.
Explain.
Well, okay, I'm not going to get into the hoe, working the ground with the hoe, but like if you have a tool, like you have an axe, well, is it going to kill people just sitting there? No. Are you going to use it for good or for bad? You're going to use it for good and chop your wood, right?
Yep, I would.
Somebody could really hurt somebody with an axe, and probably have. I mean, there's probably
Lizzie Borden.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's real or not, but
that's a really accurate story. So
I can't remember from Public Indoctrination anymore if that was a real story or if that was a make-believe story.
True. So you can kill somebody, you can hurt somebody with any tool, and a tool is useful for doing things, but it's the intent of what somebody is actually doing with it.
Yeah.
You're going to chop wood with yours.
Right.
Probably never going to try to cut anybody with it.
So the difference between an assault axe and a wood chopping axe
is you'd have to color black.
Right, you have to color black and put a tactical grip on it.
Right. And then
the forward pistol grip.
And then you'd have to have intent to assault somebody.
Right. But the intent is really, so it's in the human, it's in the mind of the human behind the tool.
Right.
Because to borrow a phrase, there's things to act and things to be acted upon, and guns are things that are acted upon. They can't act on their own.
Right.
Even if they accidentally fire, it's because of some kind of environmental action.
Right.
So it can't be that either a human being set it up to fire based on when this thing happens, this happens, put a string on the trigger, tie it around a thing or whatever, someone trips it, whatever, some ridiculous contraption like that, or heat fire causes something to a round to explode or whatever. Something happens, the thing gets jostled, whatever. So it has to be some kind of environmental intervention. A gun cannot, on its own, aim and fire around at somebody. Impossible. I've seen stories of dogs triggering off loaded weapons and killing people.
Yeah.
But it took an environment. The dog had no intent, so
right.
It was just purely environmental action on the thing that can be acted upon.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, and that's.
I guess it's possible probably to set up a cuckoo clock so when the little thing pops out, it fires a gun. But again, it'd take a human intervention to do that.
Right.
Or some crazy happenstance. Like really strange
it would have to
earthquake, tornado kind of thing just to toss things around. And
right. It has to be manipulated.
Has to be manipulated.
There's no just going off.
No,
So, that's the difference between it being a tool and it being...
Right. So if that's that you can't argue that, right? I mean, are we being biased and saying that the gun is just a tool that can't kill anybody on its own? Is that wrong?
I guess you'll find out. I guess we'll find out.
when your parents listen to this. And
No, my parents won't disagree with this at all. So,
if anyone else, but I mean, it's observable, right? It's no firearm has ever been observed to go into a bank and rob it.
I'd pay to see that, though. I would watch that.
The guy holding the gun, it's not me, it's the gun's making
right.
me do it. And he runs in
That'd
there.
be a great defense case,
That'd
right?
be awesome, yeah.
Like, the gun! It just took me in there.
Yeah. It told me it was going to kill me and my family if I didn't hold it and point it at the teller. So I did. Well, what's the gun with the money for? I don't know. But he told me I had to get it. Right?
Right.
So, sorry.
Possible.
So that's, all right. So guns don't kill people, people kill people. So then, if the gun control agenda is to provide safety for people, because guns can be used to kill people. So,
absolutely.
So if we limit the gun access, I mean, I guess this is the argument, right? And I don't mean to be, I'm hopefully not biasing the way I say it, make it sound like, I'm not trying to be facetious or anything. But so for the public safety, for the good of all people, let's take away guns. If guns harm, let's take them away. And then the argument becomes, there's no other use, there's no purpose, there's no use for guns other than killing. What would you say to that?
There's a lot of purposes for guns.
Okay.
But even if you that's all you claim that they are for.
Right.
They weren't really scared of it in 1776. I mean, that's really where we have such a different, like, even if you look at the Constitution, we're such a differently set up country that you can't really compare. Like, people like to compare stuff like that. They like to go, well, what about Australia? That's not even fair.
Right.
People want to know, like, well, yeah, we did. We fought off a tyrannical government with them. We killed people with these.
Right.
They're there for defense. They're there for sporting. Like you said, you like to shoot clay pigeons. People like to go target shooting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun.
These people aren't going out killing people.
Nope.
It's not the law-abiding citizens that usually are the people that are going out, on rampages on people. It's just not the facts.
Right.
And if you really think guns are like so deadly, and you should like go around people that own them before you really make that giant judgment on that, because it's totally you have no clue what you're talking about, and you're just going to judge it on something you heard on TV.
Right.
And it's just it.
But the TV tells us truth.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
It never lies.
Never.
Ever. That's why when these two news stories come out and they're completely different, they're both telling the truth.
Absolutely.
No lies.
No lies. Tell lie vision. No lies. All right. So, I want to make this some kind of logical discussion, but I don't do that.
I think the biggest thing is that this has turned into a fear thing.
Yeah.
Like, people have been taught to fear this and fear people with guns, and they're scared of them.
Rightfully so, because you cannot, as a tyrant, control people unless they're afraid of you.
Right. And that's how you divide.
Right. So you use your guns to make the people afraid of you, and then you have control over them.
Yes.
And then you tell them you can't have guns anymore because guns are dangerous and they're scary. So years ago when the gun control stuff started really getting big, and I was doing little comics, little single panel cartoon things, and I drew one that has this guy holding a rifle and then these two cops pointing guns at him, and the caption says, the one cop says, "Give us your guns before you hurt somebody," and he says, and then the guy holding the gun says, "What if I don't?" And they says, "Then we'll be forced to hurt you before you can hurt them," or something like that.
Right.
And that's the idea. So we can have the statistical argument of people are less likely to die by guns than falling out of a plane or whatever. I don't know what the stats say. Or these mass shootings are statistically insignificant.
Which is true.
Yeah, when you get down to it, that most of the violence is done by other means and stuff like that. So we can have this statistical argument, but that doesn't work because there's always ways to manipulate statistics, and that's what Homer Simpson said. Statistics can be used to prove what is I forget that quote.
I don't know.
It was when he was in the biker gang. He starts causing all this violent crime or something like that, and then he's talking to Kent Brockman, and Brockman says something, and then Homer says, "Statistics can be used to prove anything you want." He says like 2/3 of people know that or something. Whatever. It was funny, but Simpsons is brilliant. But yeah, so I mean, statistics can be easily manipulated one way or the other.
Right.
So that argument doesn't work. So then we get to the emotional one. Oh, but the children aren't safe.
That's about their
Well,
feelings
okay,
now.
so, yeah. So now, okay, so you're not safe. Well, again, let's borrow from statistics. So what's the likelihood of me ever being involved in a mass shooting? It's pretty slim.
Right.
I mean,
That's completely
7 billion
slim.
people on this planet. 7 billion people on this planet. So, how many died in mass shootings? How many billions of people have died in mass shootings? Let's not talk about government control.
Oh, because I was about to go
we'll
there.
talk about that. Let's not talk about government control.
You're
mass
talking
shootings.
about regular people,
yeah,
like
these
law
ones that have
like
happened-
regular citizens.
These ones that have been at the forefront of the gun control agenda over the last 15 years.
Okay.
How many people? All right, so let's say America. 350 million people in America. How many people? Hundreds? A couple hundreds?
Yeah.
I mean, not 1,000.
No.
So less than 1,000 people have died by mass shooting violence at the hand of these nasty guns, these evil guns, in the last 15 years. But out of 350 million people, what's the statistics on that? Is that statistically significant?
No.
I don't think it is.
It's not.
I'd have to do the math, but pretty sure it's not going to be. I don't know, but is it humanly significant? Yeah, it is, because those are people's lives, so
right?
And that's where the emotional argument comes in. So
absolutely,
statistics can be manipulated. Well, emotions can be manipulated as well. So now we're going to say if even one person dies at the hand of a gun, that's too much. Well, yeah, I agree with that.
Sure.
If we take it out of context, just in general, yeah, when one person dies, it's too many people died. But now let's put it into context and see why did that person die, and then it doesn't justify their death, especially if it's in the case of some wanton violence. But we got to look at the facts. We got to take it all into consideration. But again, so you got the statistical argument, you got the emotional argument, and then there's the control argument, the liberty, and that's where it all rests on. So why is it right for one person to tell another person what property they can or cannot own?
It isn't.
And then tie in the emotional part. Is it valid to say that you may not own certain property because somebody else might have used that same type of property, not the same piece of property, but the same type of property to commit some horrible thing somewhere else? Is that logical, rational, just? No,
absolutely not.
Right. And so then if we want to, when they push this gun control agenda, and I think this is the important thing to talk about, because you're not going to convince anybody if they're looking out for the safety of people, and they say if guns are used to kill a lot of people really quickly, and we got rid of guns, then people wouldn't die as quickly or as often. Okay, maybe there's truth in that statement. If that's their belief, I'm not trying to change that. I don't care if you want to believe that, because it's probably true. But who is going to remove those guns?
That's a great question.
And how are they going to do it?
By force. I mean, that's the only way you could do it, right?
Right. Well, if I don't agree with you, so do you have any money in your wallet right now?
Yeah.
Give it to me.
No.
Why not?
Because it's mine.
So I want it.
That sucks to be you.
Yeah, but you might spend it out there on something that would hurt you or your family or somebody else. I don't know how you're going to spend that money. You might spend it recklessly. So give it to me.
Yeah. No, I'm still going to
give it to me.
I'm still coming out.
Give me your money. It's in your wallet. Give it to me. I want it. Because I don't think you get to. I don't think you have what it takes to manage it responsibly.
You're probably right. But...
Give me your cash before you hurt yourself.
Right. That's exactly what they're saying.
Yeah. And so all right. So at this point, you're not willing to give me this money.
Absolutely not.
So there's two things that can happen here. I can exercise some kind of force to take it from you, or I can try to convince you further that you should give me that money.
Well, you have to
have... I guess three things. Or I can exchange something for it.
Right. Which is a buyback.
Right. So
you can buy it back, you can legislate it, or you can, and once you legislate it, you can say, hey, we're going to forcefully take this.
Well, legislation is force.
Right.
That's all legislation, because all legislation is enforced.
Right.
Otherwise, there's no point in having it. What's the point of having a law that says you can't jaywalk if you don't enforce it? So
yeah, that doesn't get enforced.
Right, because it shouldn't, because it's stupid. But any law, if it doesn't get enforced, it doesn't. If a law doesn't get enforced in the woods, does it even exist?
No.
No, it doesn't. It's pointless. So if you're going to legislate, gun confiscations or prevent banning of certain things, whatever, then you have to enforce it with force.
Right.
So if I want your money from your wallet, I can either offer you something in exchange for that money, and then maybe you'll give it to me, or I can try to convince you philosophically that you don't need it, I should have it, or that you shouldn't have it, nobody should have it, or whatever, or I can take it from you with force.
Right.
Now, in this case, physical force, I'm not trained in hand-to-hand combat, and you're bigger than I am.
Yes.
Significantly. Statistically significant. Bigger than I am. Plus, you may have a firearm, but they all went down the boat, so you probably don't.
Probably not.
So you probably don't have one.
I have holsters left.
Right. So you probably have a holster on you right now.
Probably.
It's probably empty.
Absolutely.
So I'm probably not going to take your money from you. But those are the only three things. So if it comes down to guns, and I want your guns, and I'm the government, how am I going to get them from you? Because you're unwilling to give it up. So if I can't change your mind by pushing a gun control agenda by saying, oh, look, there was another shooting here, there was another shooting there, there's a shooting at this nightclub, there's a shooting at this music event, there's a shooting at this movie theater, there's a shooting at this school. If I can't string these things together and really hammer down that this is dangerous, the public is at threat, that if you don't give up your gun, more of those things are going to happen. If I don't manipulate you psychologically into joining my side of the argument, you're not going to willingly give up your gun. Now, I could say, hey, if you bring your gun down to the police station, we're giving out $500 gift certificates to Amazon. If you've got one of those really scary, mean black rifles that has the forward hand grip and big clips on it and all these things, and you can kill 30 people in 2 seconds, the type of rifle that no human being needs, according to some. If you have one of those, maybe we'll give you 2 gift cards.
Whoa.
To Amazon.
You know what I would do if I had an AR-15 and they offered that?
Not take it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't take it.
Yeah.
Because they're worth more than that. But yeah, so I can try the buyback. But then but again, that takes your willingness
Right.
to comply.
See,
So now, if in a free society, if you don't willingly consent, what's my last resort?
violence.
Yeah,
Force.
I come to your house with guns.
And take
say,
my guns away.
Give me your guns. I have a gun. So this is what we're asking the government to do. To say, and so this, I was telling you about this last time we were talking about this with the guy on YouTube, Brian Young, High Impact Flicks. Go check him out. He was doing the interviews people at a gun control rally, and he like the first question he asked people, do you trust the government? And they would all say no. And then he'd say, but you're for gun confiscation or you're on gun control. Yeah, nobody should have guns, right? So who's going to take those guns? And they just admitted they don't trust the government, and now he's forced them into who's going to take the guns and who's going to have the guns. Because if you and I don't have guns, someone has to have a gun. Because that's
Right.
how our guns are not in our possession anymore, unless they went down in a boating accident or I just never owned one.
Tragically. You keep bringing that up, and it's going to make me cry today.
Yeah. Get over it.
Okay.
Move on. Let the trauma be done. Yeah. So someone's got to take them at the gun. But if it's the government who we don't trust, they're the ones with all the guns. Is that what we want?
That's what they seem to want.
Right.
That's what people that actually are for gun confiscation and gun control, which I don't know if anybody would call it really the different things. It's one's just getting after the other.
Right.
Gun control is just going to lead to confiscation. It's what it always does.
Right.
Anywhere you go and look at, this is how it goes.
It has to, because it starts out as banning high-capacity magazines, which high-capacity is just words that they're using to manipulate. High-capacity, what does that mean? What's normal capacity?
The standard capacity on an AR-15 is 30 rounds.
Right. So their so-called high-capacity magazines are actually standard capacity.
Right.
If that's the standard purchase, if that's what comes with the thing, then that's standard.
But see, that's the thing. They're going to do this, and
Right.
then they're going to find out that this didn't work,
Right.
and then they're going to tell you that they're going to need more. We need more. We can't. That was round one. We
Right.
need more now.
Well, because so you have the guy goes into the school and shoots him with an AR-15. So they say, even though I thought he left it in his trunk, whatever. But so now, so we can't have these rifles because they can kill too many people too fast. We can't have these high-capacity magazines because they allow a person to shoot more bullets without reloading, as if that took that long. And then so we can't have a bump fire stock because now we can shoot at a higher, even faster.
You can shoot crappier at faster
Right.
rates.
You
That
can throw
totally
right.
makes sense.
You can miss more targets quickly.
Yeah. blow through your ammo.
It's actually that's a gun control.
Yeah,
To control your, that would be safer. It's a safety feature. For me,
Let's see,
if you come running at me out in public with a bump fire stock, I'm actually safer than if you had.
Yeah, because that thing is going to go everywhere.
Right.
I mean,
most of them are going to go over my head.
Right.
It's great. So anyway, but yeah, so you start out by banning these things. Okay, now these can't be produced anymore. Now no one can buy these things, and then slowly they get them turned in because people are going to say, "Oh, this is illegal now," and because there's a lot of people out there who go, "Oh, if the government says I can't have this, well, I don't need it." And they're going to turn them in.
Absolutely.
Even though they never had any harm, never intended to harm anybody, they're going to turn them in. So that's the banning portion of it. But like you're saying, it's going to continue to happen. The gun violence will continue to happen.
They are not going to be able to have the results.
Because the gun is a symptom. The gun violence is a symptom of societal issues. The violence is the issue, not the gun.
Right.
Because it doesn't matter what the method is of carrying out the violence. The violence is going to be... No one's sitting at their house and goes, "Hey, I got this AR-15 my uncle gave me last year, just sitting in my closet. I'm going to go kill somebody with it today." It doesn't happen like that. I don't think.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I've never, in any of the stuff I've read about in years, I've been looking at these things, that's never come up.
No. That's not how any of it ever works.
So that's, but someone's going to shoot somebody else with the standard capacity, low capacity magazine or whatever. They're going to use the basic gun.
It's cheap.
Or whatever they have. But so as you ban all these crazy, scary things, there's still going to be the still equally as effective, scary things out there, if that's your perspective, and then people are going to die. So of course it's going to go to confiscation. And it's going to be, well, you know what? We banned the AR-15 and its high-capacity magazine and this assault rifle. We banned the assault rifle, but there's still a lot of people out there that have assault rifles. We need to get those back. And that's where confiscation comes in. And it might start out with just that type of rifle.
Right.
But eventually it comes down to every firearm.
Then it's going to go to semi-automatics because they're not going to get they're not going to get results from that.
Right.
So they're going to go with, well, it's semi-automatics because semi-automatic handguns are used in most of these mass shootings anyway.
Right.
So let's take those out.
Right. See, and they can't lead with that right now because too many people have them.
It's nitpicking facts.
Right. But so they can go after the scary thing that not as many people have, and most people aren't aware of, they're ignorant about. So you've probably got a lot of people in this country who own a handgun, but don't have a rifle, never would have a rifle, don't understand rifles or anything like that. And so if they went after the handgun, that's too much. It's the Overton window. You can't go for what you really want. You've got to go for, well, the Overton window is you go for something way extreme and back it off and you get what you want. But in this case, they're doing the opposite of that. The Underton window, we just coined a phrase here. But so you say, they want all guns. But they're
Absolutely.
They're going to start with the low-hanging fruit, the scary assault rifle that's been all over TV and every action movie as the go-to weapon with all the cool sounds. You ever watch a TV? So watched a lot of The Walking Dead the last couple weeks, so it's on my mind. But
did you have AR-15s?
Every time a person holding a rifle moves, you hear some kind of gun sound.
Some clicking or
some
clanking.
Kind of clicking, some kind of slide action. Sounds that like the sling, the sling nuts rattling or something like that. Some kind of
squeaking.
Sound. Yeah, there's some kind of sound every time someone grabs it. And I love it on TV, anything, TVs, movies, everything. Whenever somebody points a gun at somebody's face, it always makes a sound like the slide is being released. The chamber, the round is being chambered. Every single time. You just point it at someone, and it makes the sound of hitting that slide release and chambering around. Every single time.
This is why people are scared of guns.
Right.
It's not because they've never seen them or been around them. They see crap like that, and it's just like, whoa.
Right. You expect this thing to make all these cool sounds every time you pick it up. It doesn't. It's silent. It's completely silent.
It's almost like they're inanimate objects.
Right. Almost.
Almost.
All right. Every time they get their gun and they point it at somebody, and they whenever they want to emphasize whatever point they're trying to make to this person, like a handgun, they'll pull the slide back. Well, so you've just been waving this thing around, protecting yourself without a round in there. So you just all this time, if he had jumped at you, he could have taken your gun and you wouldn't have been able to shoot him because you didn't chamber around. So then you chamber it, and then because nothing ever flies out, so if you didn't already have one chambered and it flies out, even if they've been shooting it, they'll still chamber it and nothing flies out.
Right. Everything makes sense in the movies.
Right. Well, because you don't know. I mean, this is stuff you don't know.
Right.
If you don't know, you don't know. But, yeah, so this is all propaganda. It's all propaganda. Everything's propaganda. But, I don't know. Sidetrack.
Happens.
Yep.
Moving on.
All right, talk about something.
Well, I think another thing is that people don't understand terminology of firearms or what they do, or they don't know the difference between a revolver or a semi-automatic or a semi-automatic rifle, a bolt-action rifle, a lever-action rifle, a pump. I mean, and they don't understand these things.
Pump-action assault rifle. Those are cool, right?
I've seen a pump-action shotgun that looked fairly tactical.
Right.
But this is the thing, is they don't know.
Right.
They don't know how many rounds something has, or how many, what the capacity is, where, like how, I mean, and everything. So everything to me is like, if you don't know what you're talking about, educate yourself.
Yeah.
And if you can't educate yourself on guns without going out and trying one, try one in a safe environment.
Yeah.
And then make an actual, and don't get PTSD like that reporter did. There's 7-year-old girl.
What was that guy? It was the British guy, right?
I don't remember. No, not Pierce Morgan.
Oh, Pierce Morgan. It wasn't him.
He did shoot one, and he did have the.
I thought he was the one that made a big deal about it, and it sounded like he was.
Maybe it was.
He was traumatized by it.
He had PTSD. His ears were ringing. The smell of gunpowder. It's like, and then there's this video of this 7-year-old shooting an AR-15, and it was just like, okay, you need to grow up.
Right. Yeah, it's just not the propaganda.
Yeah.
People are gonna believe that. They listen to this guy every night.
It's Pierce Morgan.
Yeah, they trust him. They like him for some reason. Inexplicable.
Apparently, they don't understand the whole history of the United States.
I love that smell. Firing weapons. I love that smell. Yeah, it's great.
It's an amazing smell.
An AR-15 doesn't hurt.
Not at all.
It's loud, but it's not. You wear earplugs and it's fine.
Right.
I mean,
that's the whole thing. Is that if you go out and try an AR-15 and you go out somewhere where you're going to be, it's a safe environment. Yeah. You're going to be protected. Your eyes and ears.
Right.
And you're going to go out and shoot this thing, and you're going to be expecting this, huge blowback onto your shoulder, and it's just not going to happen.
No. And if you can shoot some glass, you're really going to have fun. I don't know what it is, but something intrinsically satisfactory about shooting glass.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like when you go shooting, you have a lot of fun. Like it's a fun thing to do.
Well, people have been doing it for thousands of years. Archery. I mean, that's a sport. People have been doing that as a sport forever.
Absolutely.
It's all about shooting targets. People go out and like big groups of people have these festivals and everything, and it's shooting. It's shooting. It's a shooting sport. Just the technology's changed.
Yeah, and like one of my favorite people to like watch shoot is like Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah? Why?
So in his movie John Wick, he really trained for that. Like I watched him shoot. Like that guy. So people who actually train and are good at like 3-gun competitions where they're going out shooting 3 different guns.
Yeah.
A shotgun, a pistol, and an AR-15 usually.
Yeah.
Those guys, if you ever saw somebody like them on a mass shooting, you would know that would be scary.
Yeah, right.
Those guys aren't the people that go out and shoot people, though.
Right.
It's just not going to happen.
Because they're connected. They have their basic needs met. They're comfortable in their lives. They're living their lives. They're not going to become... So, I mean, they could, potentially, but...
Anybody could, potentially, right?
Yeah, right. But they're less likely to, I think, based on the fact that they're participating in those kind of competitions. It's not something that you just walk into.
Right. Something you have to show control to do.
Right.
And control people don't just go...
Right. Which is interesting that someone who has control, self-control, is safe with a firearm. And someone who wants to control others is unsafe with a firearm.
Right.
I.e. politicians and governments.
Absolutely.
They don't have self-control, those individuals. They want control of others, and that's a lack of self-control, I believe.
Absolutely.
You cannot impose your will on someone else and expect good things. And so I think that's a lack of self-control is when you're trying to, you can't, for whatever reason, you don't feel comfortable in your own self. You don't feel like you can manage your own life, so you reach out to manage others in some kind of counterfeit version of meeting your own need for self-control.
Right.
And
that's where we're at.
Right.
I mean, you and I, if we had guns, if we had guns,
if we ever had them,
we would use them to shoot stuff like clay pigeons
Safely,
or
right. We would make sure that whatever we're shooting at has a safe, proper backstop. There's nobody at risk behind it. That we're in a safe environment where we can fire without any kind of environmental damage, and we'll take care of the area where we are. We'll pick up the casings afterwards, and all those safe things that a person would do.
Right.
And we will never shoot a human being unless driven to it.
Right.
As absolute last resort.
Defensively for protecting ourselves and our family, right?
Yeah.
Because really, if somebody said, "I want your money," I'd be like, "I don't."
Yeah, probably. Yeah, right. Yeah.
I would be like, "Here's my wallet." Go.
Yeah. If someone tries to steal my Subway sandwich when I'm walking back.
Right. You're not gonna be like, "I'm gonna shoot you now."
Yeah. I'm not gonna pretend to like. I'm not gonna make that up. I was thinking about Jesse Smollett. That's what he did. He was walking back with a Subway sandwich. That was all orchestrated.
And you'd have to pay. I don't even know.
Yeah, no,
how do you even go to that one?
I'm not gonna. I know. Yes, I forget that. People have talked plenty about that one, but I'm not. Yeah, I'm not gonna shoot someone over stealing my sandwich.
Right. You're gonna shoot somebody if you feel like your life is in jeopardy or your family.
Yeah.
There's just.
And even then, I might not.
It'd be hard.
Well, it'd definitely be hard because I don't have a gun.
Right. That would. But if you
I
did have a gun,
and if I did, it's locked up. You know, it's got a trigger lock and a round. You know, the shells are separated from it, so you know, it's take me 3 minutes to get it out of there and get it loaded. And
please wait. Hang on. Because no matter what, your gun confiscation is never going to work for the criminals, the people who don't want it.
Well, you know, on YouTube today, I watched the guy make a 22 rifle with hand tools.
Yeah.
No welding. Just he had a rifle barrel. There was it was an actual rifle barrel, but other than that, it was all just pieces of wood and metal that he managed to put together. I mean, even the trigger mechanism. It was a single shot thing. You pulled the barrel off, put the round in it, and snap it back on, and then fire it. You just hold the barrel in place with your hand. It doesn't fly off when you shoot or anything like that.
Why would it?
Right, because it won't. But people might think it would.
Right.
I think you've
so much pressure.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
That's again, they're just uneducated people don't know.
Right, but if the guy can make a rifle in his shop like that, from just basic tools, I could make that.
Right.
I mean, he made it look nice. It was a cool. It looked good. It looked like a rifle. I couldn't.
It was aesthetically pleasing,
right?
And functional. Huh?
If I had a barrel, I could probably rig up something like that. But I'm gonna have like a 2x4 with no cuts on. I was gonna have a straight 2x4 with a metal tube on top.
Duct tape.
Yeah. That's actually not a bad idea.
No, it's horrible, but
I think I might build that. Why not, right? I'll put some thought.
You might be defying constitutional or the United States law.
Don't give me that. But it's possible to do.
You can make a gun out of a lot of things.
Yeah, so confiscate all you want, but they're still going to exist. It's not going to end gun violence, and it doesn't matter about gun violence. Let's end violence. Let's end human violence. So let's practice human control, self-control, and human violence, not human gun violence. But
there's a lot that goes into this, and there's a lot we could go from here too. But
right, we've talked for too long to go on to any other topics for now. Well, not too long, but I think we've
covered it.
Yeah,
what we wanted to say today.
Right.
I feel like it's good.
What's your takeaway message then? So if we instead of having all this conversation that we had, if we just had to make one message, what would yours be?
I think the biggest thing is educating yourself on things and understanding what you're talking about before you talk about them, especially with, something that's such a political crosshair right now. Like, if you don't know
gun language crosshairs, man,
don't talk about it. Like, and if you want to know, if you want to be able to talk about it, experience it, learn, educate yourself, and not just in the case of going out and shooting a gun, but understand where gun violence comes from and look at statistics, look at the facts from the FBI and the CDC on this. There's a lot to it. It's a big onion to take the layers off of.
Right.
That's my take. What about you? What's yours?
My thing comes down to liberty, and so nobody has any more authority over my life than I do. That's just my approach. I don't think it. And so we have this government. We have these social contracts and these things for the purpose of. I mean, it's this whole idea that we sacrifice individual liberty in the interest of collective protection, and I don't like that. So I don't know. I don't know how to explain, but liberty.
I like liberty.
Well, so I should be free to own anything that I can purchase or make. There's nothing that I should not be able to own or to have. Why? Who's to say what I should or shouldn't have? A group of people? A mob? I mean, if I build something in my yard and my neighbors don't like it, they can all band together and come and tear it down. That's a mob. Yep. And so if I own a gun and the United States government says I'm not allowed to own a gun, and they get their police together and they come over in force and take it, what's the difference between those two mobs? If I'm doing something, if I build something in my yard that's offensive, it's honestly offensive, like, you know, everyone would see it, oh, that's offensive, or it's injuring somebody, or somehow taking away from someone else's liberty, then by all means, come and tear it down. But if it's something, if I just build a statue of myself and they're just like, that's stupid, and they come and tear it down, well, that's not cool. It's the same thing. If I'm using a gun to hurt and injure people, then it's up to those people to stop me from using a gun that way. If I'm using a gun in a safe manner that's not causing anyone any harm, then never or is it justified to come and take it from me, because I'm at liberty to own property.
And a gun is just a piece of property.
So I think the discussion is just that the whole gun control thing is not. It's a play. It's all drama being drawn out for some other purpose. It's not about whether or not we own guns. It's about control and whatever else. It's a different agenda. It's not about the guns. It's not about the guns. Most of these issues are not about the thing that the issue is about, the triggering point. It's not. Just like with drugs, addiction, it's not about the drug. It doesn't matter so much what the drug is. It matters about what the person's got going on in their life, what the behaviors are in their life. Addiction is addiction. You can have it binge watching The Walking Dead like I have for the last couple of weeks. You can have it snorting heroin, whatever it is. The drug doesn't matter so much as the behavior. Why is that behavior happening? And it's the same thing. It's not about having a gun. It's about controlling property and controlling your ability to defend yourself. And so that's what my approach has always been: liberty. If I'm not injuring somebody, leave me alone.
Or offending.
Well, so that's a tougher one to get.
Right.
I mean, so injury and offense is that's a bigger, deeper conversation, because I can call you stupid, and what does that mean?
I just leave.
Right. You don't take it personally because it doesn't matter. But if I punch you in your face, you might still just leave, but then you're justified at responding to that one, I think.
Right. I agree. That's why I asked about the offense.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, offense is a tough one, because amongst ignorant people, offense can be a great deal of many things, and let's talk about that next time.
Okay.
Taking offense.
What kind of fence? A picket one?
Picket fences. Taking picket
Let's
fences.
do it.
That was good. That was Marx Brothers.